Thank you so much to everyone for being here today to join in this celebration. It's really a victory shared by this entire community. I'm King County Executive Dow Constantine. I wanted to start by thanking El Centro for having us here today. Very kind of you. Thank you, Stella Ortega, for being our host. Now that you've finished applauding loudly, I understand it's still nap time at the daycare here at El Centro. Shh. We don't want to have to send you all out to take care of crying babies, so just keep it calm. Last week, the County Council unanimously approved a plan to implement Best Starts for Kids, a major milestone toward ensuring that every baby born in this county, every child being raised here, has the opportunity for the best start in life. I want to thank the council members joining me today and all of the County Council for really being part of a team effort to do this for the people of King County. This effort is one that has the potential to be a national model for effective child and youth development. You know, we're in a time when we're hearing a lot of overheated rhetoric out of Washington, D.C. and yes, and you know, even out of Olympia. And it has dramatically slowed progress in our state and virtually halted it nationally. But the executive and legislative branches of King County are working together to deliver results right here at home for the people to whom we provide services every single day. And now with the implementation plan based on science and focused on outcomes, we are ready to move forward on Best Starts for Kids. So I don't think being awakened from your nap by applause counts as an adverse childhood experience, but just we'll have to consult with our advisors. I want to thank everyone here who helped shape the initiative. So many people brought their expertise and their insight and their experience to creating the initiative and then creating the implementation plan that the council has adopted. And we will continue to call on you as we work to make sure we get the most value for every one of these important public dollars. This initiative really did start when some of my staff from Public Health and from DCHS, our Human Services Department, and from my own office suggested that we pay a little visit, go on a field trip to iLabs at the University of Washington. It's the Institute for Learning and Brain Sciences. And I was listening to their discussion of the science of brain development in very, very young children, the environmental influences, the ways in which more nurturing and support, more sharing of language could help children's brains develop in a positive way, and conversely, how adverse experiences, violence in the home or housing insecurity could have a negative impact that would stay with those children potentially their entire lives. And I suddenly realized, as I was sitting there in that room, that all that we were struggling to do in criminal justice, in public health, in human services, reacting and responding to crises, all of that could be traced back to a little bit of early nurturing that could have been given, a little more help we could have provided upstream, where somebody's life could have been different. And that's when this initiative started, Best Starts for Kids, right there at iLabs at the University of Washington. The council immediately understood the importance of this, the importance of us carving out a little space for ourselves to begin investing in people rather than reacting when people's lives have gone off the tracks. And they helped move this forward along with members of the community to really ask ourselves what we could do better, what we could do right for our children and youth and families. So in the end, we were able to pass rather overwhelmingly in King County a measure that will raise some $400 million in funding over the course of the next 6 years to do exactly that. Now it is up to us to deliver on that promise. It is not a measure of success to say that we put $400 million into turning people's lives around and giving them a better start. Our measure of success will be 5 and 6 years from now, children who are arriving at kindergarten ready to learn, who otherwise might not have. Kids who then go on to succeed in school, graduate from high school, and be able to get education and training and succeed in our economy, to take care of their families, to get a leg up in this world. We are turning the corner today on a long period where we neglected those early investments in favor of very expensive later reactions and interventions. So the way we'll make this a lasting victory is by producing results that we can show, and having the people of this county and of the state support us in doing even more to invest in the people so that they can realize their full potential. And instead of people being lost and left aside, everyone can be pulling in the same direction to help us advance as a community and as a state. So I am going to, first of all, thank our well-respected advisory board of experts and community leaders who are going to help guide the implementation. You have quite a bit on your shoulders. And thank our talented and dedicated staff team led by Sheila Capistani, including Marcy Miller and Jen DeYoung, and there are so many, I can't possibly mention them all. But before we start doing that hard work and measuring our results and holding ourselves accountable and all that, we get to celebrate, right? So I am now going to sign the legislation that starts Best Starts for Kids, and I'll ask if the council members could join me around the table here. Please, everyone, come on. Don't be shy.
I don't know what
I'm going to take one.
Get you a crayon.
You know, that would make a lot of sense.
Crayola.
Oh, Councilmember Dombrowski, just 2 seconds too late.
Yeah, I know. Stella might be able to track this. Get in there.
that's an organizer there.
Come on in, everybody. Stella?
You know, you can say that James down.
I could. Are we all here? Well, for those who are at the table and those who made this happen, I am now going to sign Ordinance 2016-0281.4, approving the Best Starts for Kids implementation plan. And now, who did sponsor this legislation? Oh, there you are. Why don't you have that? And I hope everyone here will have a pen from the signing. And I want to now turn around and do something even a little more fun, which is sign the poster. So here we go. Right here. There we go. It's my pleasure to introduce the chair of the committee that shepherded this through initial stages of the County Council, Councilmember Jean Kohl-Welles.
Well, thank you, Dow Constantine, our county executive, for first of all having the vision to go on this journey that we've had the last 2 years. Without your visionary leadership, we wouldn't be standing here today, and we wouldn't have little children like this wonderful child depicted here in this image to be able to benefit from this huge effort that we have before us. I have to say, what a first year I have had being on the county council. I give a lot of thanks to our council chair, Joe McDermott, who appointed me to chair the Health, Housing, and Human Services Committee. It's been a huge endeavor, and I'm really excited.
Just call me
I'm
Dow,
really
it's fine.
excited. As Dow has already thanked so many of you, the real nitty-gritty took place over the last several months in our working with the executive department and council members to really bring about an excellent product in our implementation plan. I also want to thank Council Members Gossett right here and Councilmember Dembowski and Councilmember Lambert for serving on the leadership team for me that spent countless hours with our staff working out all the details and getting this through. I also would like to say this is really exciting, don't you think? I mean, we are embarking on something that has not taken place in our country. And I agree with Dow that we are likely to become a model for the rest of the nation. This is something that's transformational. This is cutting edge. This is a pivotal moment that we are experiencing right now. And I am really, really, really excited. This is the wow factor, all wrapped up. It's too bad we don't have a package here with the big bow, because that's what we're celebrating here. But as Dow said, the real proof will be a few years from now when we have Best Starts for Kids truly making a huge difference in the lives of children and families in our county. And lastly, I'd just like to say that for me, and I'm a sociologist, this has the momentum and the opportunity to really generate, effect social change. And social change usually takes a long time to come about. I think we're going to have measurable results in just a few years that will keep building. Thank you, Dow, for this, and I'm going to sign the poster now in purple.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I'm surprised you didn't
Yes,
take
well, you
that.
should.
And I would like now to introduce our County Council Chair, Councilmember Joe McDermott.
I want to begin by thanking Councilmember Kohl-Welles, Jeannie, for chairing the Health, Housing, and Human Services Committee. The work she has done this year in that committee has been stellar and meaningful and immense. And that is only in small part the implementation for the Best Starts for Kids program here in King County. But that is a significant piece of the work. Thank you very much and congratulations. As I hope you have heard me say before, Best Starts for Kids is the most progressive piece of legislation I have worked on in my career. And that's because we are making those early investments. Dow talked about the realization he had standing at iLabs. The realization that early investments are so much smarter and will prevent later bad investments in bad outcomes. Smaller investments early in this first year of the levy in preventing homelessness for children and their families. And then over the remaining 5 years of the levy, investing in proven programs and promising practices around early childhood, screening and development, nurse-family partnership visits, education and employment opportunities, job training. Making all of those connections will clearly demonstrate long-term payoffs and enhancements that will benefit us, yes, in the bottom line, but as Dow said, it's not about the money invested, it is about the lives improved and the better outcomes. So I'm also ecstatic about the implementation plan and having been able to sponsor the legislation last year and to be able to join people in signing the poster today. And I'd love to introduce my co-sponsor in the legislation last year and colleague on the council, Rod Dembowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm pretty excited too, so I wrote a few things down. I hope you'll forgive me, but I'm really pleased to be here and to celebrate with the county executive and my colleagues this significant new investment in human services. When I came onto the council in 2013, my number one priority was to respond to the dramatic reduction in our general fund and therefore our support for human services by making new investments there. And we set about work on that by writing a youth action plan piece of legislation. Many of the children and youth advisory board members participated in the development of that, and it came out with a number of great policy recommendations, but really there was no fuel in the tank, as we said then. And with the county executive's leadership, we got that fuel. And really it's on supercharge because it's more than just gas in the tank. I mean, we have, with this program, really taken the lead nationwide in investing in kids, and it's the right kind of investments. I'm particularly proud of the investments in the kids, the 0 to 4, 0 to 5, but also the older kids, the 5 to 24-year-olds, and the $160 million or so that we'll put into those programs to make sure that kids have less involvement in our juvenile justice system by mentoring and leadership and training. You know, another thing in this legislation that I'm really proud of, I was reminded of today, in the back of this room on the picture up there, are the four amigos at the formation of the Minority Executive Directors Coalition. We're joined by the last of the four amigos, my colleague and here on the council, Larry Gossett. In the development of this work, we met with the essentially successor of that organization down at ACRS. And they reminded us that not everything is evidence-tested and evidence-based, and that some of these small programs that serve particular communities deserve support. And over the 6 years of this levy, Dow proposed, and we've included $9 million or so in an innovation fund for promising practices to go out and support small community organizations that aren't the traditional big service providers. And I think that's a really good thing, really good thing. You know, just one other thing to highlight in here, we put some support for public health. I'm a child of King County's public health program. I was vaccinated at our public health clinics. They're under tremendous strain and pressure. And we've got just some good support in here. We're keeping our health clinics open as a result. We put in $400,000 to boost a year for 6 years, over $2 million to boost our vaccination programs to fight HPV, which causes cancer in women and men. To fight pertussis and other things like that we know we can beat with preventative measures consistent with the executive's vision. Just by way of conclusion, this would not have happened without the incredible leadership of Dow Constantine, our county executive. He built the coalition, he advanced the vision, he made sure that when the going got tough, he kept going, and he brought the community together, and it's just a real honor to be here with you today, Dow. I congratulate you on this tremendous success.
Thank you for everything you do.
And I guess I get to sign it too, right?
There we go.
Now, thank you. Larry, did you want to say a few words, Councilmember Gossett?
Yeah, come on up.
Councilmember Gossett, who 43 years ago or so celebrated his wedding in the basement of this building with his beautiful wife, is here today to say a few words.
That's some good research. I did on my wedding reception here. And at that time, anybody over 6'4" could not get downstairs. So we had, because of this was an elementary school. And it was founded on Columbus Day, 1972. The esteemed Roberto Maestas selected that date because he wanted to make the analogy between Columbus discovering what is now Haiti and Santo Domingo, an island already occupied, and us discovering a building that for 6 years, even though it was owned by the school district, had not been occupied at all, and we were going to put it to use. And it's just been tremendous, the success that has accrued because of that multiracial community organizing, symbolic of El Centro, that has continued down to the day and is emblematic of Dow's thinking last year when he came up with the idea of having the best starts for kids. I just want to add that Dow and the other leaders got together, and first thing they had to do was get the general public, which is not easy, to go out and vote for a $400 million levy. That was a tremendous accomplishment. I want to conclude by just mentioning a couple of the points that Dow made, and that is right now, 75% of all black students entering kindergarten in Seattle, Washington, or in King County are not prepared for kindergarten. Their vocabulary is 400 or 500. Their vocabulary should be 2,000 words. And if we are able to reduce just that statistic from 75% of all black kids down to 18 to 20%, and we don't have a vast disproportionality between the number of black kids in 6 years that can't read at grade level compared to white kids, that would be a tremendous accomplishment. The final example in our housing program, where we're trying to prevent further homelessness, if we're able to reduce homelessness for young people, who are about 900 of the 5,000 that were identified as homeless on January of this year, down to 100 or 200 in 4 or 5 years, because we were consistently able to get hundreds of kids, enable them to keep their housing situation up. That would be a tremendous accomplishment. And those are the kinds of things that the general public should keep in the back of their minds, as well as in the forefront, and evaluating all of us as elected officials on whether or not we made the Best Starts for Kids programs successful. And as a founder, one of the founders of El Centro de la Raza, I would like to just thank everybody who's out joining us on this historic occasion. And I'm going to sign it.
I think our final speaker is a representative of the Children and Youth Advisory Board, Catherine Lester, from the city of Seattle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Catherine Lester. I'm the director of the Human Services Department for the City of Seattle. I'm really happy to be here, County Executive Constantine and members of County Council. When I think about, first of all, I just want to say this work is not possible without just amazing folks in our community who are doing really great things on behalf of kids and families. And when I think about this work, I'm really sort of struck by two things. One is that there's great alignment with how it connects to my own kind of functional work values around results and racial equity. But secondly, that it's very connected to my own personal values and personal history as a person, and particularly as a woman of color. And that's that my first sort of physical memory that I have is being 6 years old and living on the south side of Chicago and seeing very clearly the connections in my own family that as social workers and as community activists we're attempting to try to mitigate. So issues related to substance abuse and chronic unemployment and mental health and domestic violence. And what I'm really encouraged by is that this particular levy and Best Starts for Kids and this investment is really intended to make sure that the protective factors that allowed me to be who I am today are true for all kids in our community. So thank you so much.
Let us raise a glass to those we don't even know yet. Those who will be benefited by the work we do here today. Those who some years from now will be our leaders. We are doing a good thing here in King County, and I hope the rest of the state and the rest of the nation takes note and follows. To Best Starts.
Best Starts.